Hello everyone, welcome back to Math Specs. My name is Stephanie and today we're going to begin our discussion on absolute values. So let's get started, and first we're going to begin by introducing some definitions. So today we're going to talk about opposites, and opposites is a term we use to describe two numbers that are the same distance from zero on the number line, but they are on different sides of zero. So let's break this definition down so that we can better understand it. So opposites are going to be two numbers. It's a description of two numbers that are the same distance from zero on a number line, but they are on different sides of zero. What are the two sides of zero? Remember, if you remember the last lecture, we have this left side where we have negative numbers, and we also have this right side where we have positive numbers. So when we have opposites, we're going to have two numbers, one on the left and one on the right, and they will be the same distance from zero. So if we do a quick example right now, let's say I have -4 on the left side of zero. -4 is 4 units from zero. And you may be thinking, well, how do you know that? Well, I can just count 1, 2, 3, and 4. It is 4 units to the left of zero. The opposite of -4 is going to be on the right side, and it's going to be +4. So if we count, it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, and indeed +4 is exactly 4 units away from zero, as well as -4. So that's what we mean by opposites. We're describing two numbers that are the same distance from zero, and they are on opposite sides of zero. So one is on the left side and one is on the right side. So let's go ahead and do these two examples on the bottom. We're given -7 and we're asked what is the opposite of -7. So -7 is on the left side of zero, and it is 7 units away from zero, and you can count this going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and so we need a number that is to the right of zero, and that will be 7, +7. So the opposite of -7 is +7, and these two are opposites. 3, we have +3, and what would be the opposite to -3? What would be another number that is on the opposite side, so on the other side of zero? So if +3 is on the right side, then -3 right here would be on the left side. So that it would be 3 and -3. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to the next example. So we're asked to use a number line to find the opposite of -2. And our approach is that we have to remember that the opposite must be the same distance from zero, and it must be on the other side of zero. So we're going to start off by graphing -2 right here on the number line. And we're going to count how many units away, or its distance away from zero. So it'll be 1, 2. So this to here is going to be 2 units. So -2 is going to be on the left side. So we're going to get a number on the right side. So from 0, we're going to count 1, 2. And from there to there will also be 2 units. So our opposite number to -2 will be +2. Okay. So now we're going to introduce our definition of absolute value. An absolute value is defined as a number's distance. A number's distance from zero on the number line. And how would we write the absolute value of a number? Well, it would actually use some new symbols, these straight lines, and with the number, and remember A is a number, so it would look something like this. It would look something like the absolute value of 3, the absolute value of a half, or maybe the absolute value of -6, the absolute value of 1.5. A can be any number. Okay? And so we also have to remember that the absolute value of a number is never negative. So that's something that will actually help you when we discuss our challenge question. Okay, so let's go ahead and continue. So now we have some of these absolute value properties. So if a is a positive number, then the absolute value of a will be equal to a, which is positive as well. So here's our example. If we have the absolute value of positive 4, then it will be 4. Our next property is if a is 0, then the absolute value of a, which is 0, will equal 0. So here we have the absolute value of 0, and this is going to equal 0. And finally, for our last property, if a is a negative number, then the absolute value of a is going to be the opposite of a. And here I'm going to show you an example. So if we have negative 4, we're taking the absolute value, then we're going to multiply this negative 1 times a, whatever this negative number is, and it'll give us a positive number. So we can also do it like this. Let's say we have negative 1/2, and we wanted to find the absolute value of this, then we would multiply negative 1 times negative 1/2, and that would give us 1/2. Okay, so let's go ahead and go on to the next slide. And now we're asked to find the absolute value of these expressions utilizing the properties that we just learned. So here we have the absolute value of 6. 6 is positive, so it will also be 6. We have the absolute value of negative 1.4, and as we just talked about, we are going to multiply negative 1.4 times negative 1, and that's going to give us positive 1.4. Here we have a positive, we're asked to find the absolute value of 3 over 4, and we have a negative sign on the outside. So the absolute value of 3 over 4 is going to be 3 over 4, because remember up here we had a positive number, and it's just the same number. So here as well, we have a positive 3 over 4, so our absolute value is going to be 3/4, but we have this negative number on the outside, so we're going to multiply this by this negative 1 on the outside, and the answer is going to be negative 3 over 4. And here we have the absolute value of negative 7 with a negative sign on the outside. So here we're going to do this. We have a negative number, so it'll be negative times negative 7, and then we have another negative on the outside. So negative 1 times negative 7 is going to give us positive 7, but we still have this negative sign here. So the answer would be negative 7. Okay. So we're going to continue. And here is our example where we're asked to solve an absolute value equation, and our directions are to use mental math to solve the equation. So we have the absolute value of x is equal to 8, and we're asked to find what is x. So our approach here is that we're going to ask ourselves what numbers are 8 units from 0. So remember, we're going to need to know, so here's 0, and we have a left side and a right side. So we're going to know, we can just count. We can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So negative 8 is 8 units away from 0 to the left, and to the right, because remember we have a left side, this negative side, and a positive side to the number line. And so then on the right side of 0, we would count 8 units to the right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we have 2 numbers that are 8 units from 0. Okay, so here we are, both 8 and negative 8 are both numbers that are to the left and to the right of 0 that are 8 units from 0. So our answer here is 8 and negative 8. That is our solution, okay? Because remember we had this negative side, this positive side, and we literally just counted 8 units to the left, and our answer was negative 8 on this side. Let me go ahead and highlight that differently. So we counted 8 units from 0 in this direction to the left. So we got negative 8. Then we also counted from 0 to the right, And we counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and we got this value here, so 8. Okay. So remember, absolute value is the distance from 0. That's important. You are always welcome to make flashcards and review the notes as well. And here's our challenge question. If you remember, the hint or key that I highlighted is that we're asked to use mental math to solve the equation. The absolute value of x is going to equal negative 1 over 4, and we're asked to find what is x. Okay, so think about what we just learned. Is there a solution to this? Is there an x? Is there a number here that when we take the absolute value, we would get a negative 1/4? And can an absolute value be a negative number? And the answer is no. So the absolute value of a number is never negative, so there is no solution. So that is it for today. I thank you so much for watching, and next time we will continue our discussion on absolute value and we will discuss velocity and speed. So until next time,